All right, so now we're on lesson 2 of week 7. Before we found y-intercepts on a graph, and now we're going to focus on finding the slope of a graph. So what you need to know is that the slope is also known as the rate of change. Sometimes they may ask you, okay, what's the rate of change or what's the slope? They mean the same thing. A formula to find slope that's super important that y'all probably remember from the school year is we use rise over run. Remember, rise over run. And then the value or the variable that we use to represent slope, we call it m. Like y-intercept is called b, and then slope is called m. So really quick, let's just kind of review the 4 different types of slope. If you ever remember, I used Slope Dude in my class where, the guy is skiing and, he's going up the mountain, down the mountain, he's going flat, and then he falls off the cliff. So just to kind of remember, I'm going to even write Slope Dude. Okay, so the first slope, he's going up the mountain, he's going puff, puff, positive. So if you're going uphill like this, that's a positive slope. He's going puff, puff, positive. Okay, and then he kind of goes, he gets to the top of the hill, and then he starts going down the hill. And that was nice, negative. So whenever you're going down the hill, he's like, nice, negative, it's fun. He's going downhill or he's skiing down the slope. Then he hits a flat part, like this. And he says, this is 0 fun. Okay, because when you're skiing and it's flat, you're not doing anything really fun. It's just flat. So it's 0 fun. And then he gets to the edge of the cliff and he falls off. And he screams undefined. Okay? So those are your 4 different types of slopes. So it's really important. These are the ones we're going to be working with today. Those, you'll be able to see it, and then you just decide, is it 0 or undefined? So make sure you write these down because you're probably going to see these on your quiz. But it's super important that you remember what's positive and negative. All right, so if we're going to find slope from a graph, there's some steps you need to know. So first, step 1, you want to find 2 points, okay? 2 points that the line is intersecting with the graph really nicely. I call them pretty points, but you want to find 2 points, so let's do it here. So let's look at this first graph. I'm kind of drawn, I want to figure out a nice point on the graph where the line is hitting. So I'm just going to go to this point. And then let's say I have another point here. That point. Okay, so now I have 2 like pretty points. And then step 2, you want to draw a triangle. A right triangle. Okay. So using this, I'm going to draw my own little triangle connecting those 2 points. So it'll look like that. It's really tiny. Okay, and then step 3, you just want to do rise over run. Sorry, I should have left some room. Rise over run. So remember, rise is going up, so it looks like I'm rising by 1 and I'm running by 1. But something I forgot to mention. We need to figure out what type of slope this is first. So if you look at this line, is it going puff, puff, positive, nice, negative, 0, or undefined? So if I look and match it up with one of these 4, it looks like it's going nice, negative. So this is actually a negative slope. Okay? So we know our answer is going to be negative. And then you want to do rise over run, which was 1 over 1, which 1 divided by 1 is just 1, but we know it's a negative slope, so it's negative 1. And that's our slope. So then I look at my multiple choice, and it looks like A is my answer. Okay? If you got B, you probably just did all the work and then forgot about what type of slope it is. Sometimes, guys, you can even cancel out choices by just looking at the type of slope. If you have all positive answers and then there's only 1 negative, and you have a negative slope, it's probably that one. Alright, so the next one. Let's figure out what type of slope we have first, and then we'll move on. So it looks like I'm going puff, puff, positive for this slope. So we'd say this is a positive slope. And then I want to find 2 pretty points. So I'm going to say this one, and it doesn't matter. If you have one that's next to each other, you could do 1 and 1, or you could just find another one. So I like to sometimes look at the axes and make a big triangle. So now I've got a big triangle. You could have a small one like this one that you're going to watch. You'll even get the same answer. Same answer. So looks like I have a rise of 1, 2, 3. You want to count the units, not just like the boxes. You want to count how many spaces. So I have 1 space, 2 space, 3 space. And then here I have 1, 2, 3. So I have a run of 3. So then I just want to go ahead and do rise over run, which is 3 over 3. And we know it's a positive slope, so I'm just going to leave it positive. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Positive 1. And it looks like C is my answer. M is positive 1. Alright, we're going to go down to the bottom. It's going to get a little trickier. Just to kind of remember from lesson 1, we talked about y equals mx plus or minus b. We already figured out b last lesson. Okay, that was y-intercept. Now we want to figure out, we're just looking for the slope, the m. So we only really care about this. Okay, later on, I made all the b's really easy for this problem. They're all the same, so you really don't have to worry about picking between them. Later on, we're going to figure out how to do all of it together. So we're just going to focus on finding the values that are correct with the x that match the graph. So let's figure out what type of slope this one is first. It looks like it's going, this would be positive. It looks like it's a negative slope. So we're going to go ahead and label this as a negative slope. And then I want to find 2 pretty points. So I'm just going to use right here on the y-axis. It looks like that's my y-intercept, -2. And then it looks like another pretty point we could say is here. Okay, and by pretty point I mean it's nice in between all the square units. You see how that's kind of like at an awkward length. It's not really in the corner. We want pretty points that are in those corners. Okay, I'm going to draw my right triangle. Now my rise, remember rise is going up or down, rise is 1 and my run is 4. So I have a rise over run 1 over 4, and remember it's -1 over 4 because it's a negative slope. So I have a -1/4 of a slope. So the only one that matches that would be B. -1/4 x, and then -2 or -2 is your B. Alright, last one. It looks like the type of slope we have, it looks like it's going uphill, so this would be a positive slope. And then I want to find 2 pretty points. So I'm just going to use that y-intercept again, the B. And then it looks like my next pretty point is up here at 2, 1. I'm going to draw my right triangle. Here my rise looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And my run is just 1. So I have a rise over run. Rise is 4. Run is 1. It's a positive slope, so I just leave it alone. 4 divided by 1 is 4. So the only one that matches that one is C. 4. Alright, make sure you have all this down. I know this is a lot of notes. Really, if you just remember rise over run, find your pretty points, draw a triangle, rise over run. And then you really got to make sure you know what type of slope you have. Okay, because sometimes it'll be so easy, you can just figure out, okay, is it positive or negative, and then there's your answer. So make sure you really have these down and that you understand the steps. All right? Then you should be working on your quizzes and you should be done for the week after that quizzes. Good job, guys.